Hello, 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 hello. We are live. What's up, Justin Tip? Give me just a second. I gotta walk through a spider web a little while ago to wrap around my head and my eyeballs. Probably stuck around my glasses. Ooh, you see everything all right tonight, Justin Tip? You got a picture of me on here? Can you hear me? Can you see me? What's up, Maurice? I guess y'all can see me. Can you hear me? Is the everything good? What's up, Dennis? New to the channel. Come on in the house. Loud and clear. PD's in the house. Robert's in the house. Team keeping it real. Everything's good. Appreciate it there, Richard. You still out on the water, buddy? He set this up where I can see this and not look at the camera. Kentucky Catman, Virginia Fisherman, Matthew. What's going on, man? Glad to see you coming in here. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, guys. We're going to start this out by saying, God bless America. God bless each and every one of you. I appreciate you joining us in tonight. And I'm getting ready to bring in our guest for tonight. If you'll give me just a second. Yeah, I don't think she'll let me do it. Gotta start over. I misspelled his name. Sorry about that, guys. Give me just a second. Now we got him. We'll send him an invite. Tonight's guest is going to be fishing with Big Nasty. Jeff Anderson is going to be in the house with us tonight. So y'all guys get your questions ready.
Hello.
Doing some fishing, getting the fish caught, the catfish caught because they're getting ready to go on the spawn. And the spawn is going to make for some tough fishing. So get out there and get them caught because Richard and them fish Saturday night. Fish was all swollen up and changing colors. Got a little bit of battle scars on them, so they'll be headed to the beds anytime. Thank you, Jeff, for coming in here with us tonight, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
I seen you had to cut your 7 days a little bit short on your 7-day fishing trip.
Yeah, it was rough, but equipment failures and everything else. I just wasn't ready for it. Last year when I did it, I didn't have any equipment to worry about. And this year it was a little bit tougher because I had to keep those batteries on them GoPros charged up and had a cancellation on a fishing trip. I just, after Thursday and I didn't make it, I was like, nah, can't make a 7-day fishing video with a 1 day missing. So I just called it quits.
Yeah. We'll give a shout out. We got quite a few people in here, Jeff. We got Just a Tip, which I think you know who that is. Maurice, a new guy, Dennis LaFleur. He said he's new to the channel and he loves catfishing. We got PD, Robert Waxon. I think he's new. I don't recognize the name, but appreciate you coming in tonight. We got Richard in the house, Kentucky Catman, Virginia Fisherman.
Wow.
Anthony's in the house. Let's see. Trey Hodge is in the house. I said PD. If I miss y'all guys, I'm trying to go through here. Appreciate everybody coming in tonight. Ask the questions. Jeff cannot see y'all's comments. So if you got questions, make sure you post it up. If I miss it, repost it again. I'll try to catch it coming through. Yeah, we got quite a few people in here, Jeff.
Heavy hitters in there.
Oh yeah, some heavy hitters. Yeah, hello, Matthew. Glad to see you in. That's the crappie killer right there. So bite gets tough in the summertime, and the catfish kind of want to shut down a little. Well, let me restart this. What really got you into the heavier fishing? The more, instead of just a recreational, more almost like an obsession, just like the rest of us. You know, go ahead. You know, all of us grew up going with our grandpas or our fathers once in a while when they got a chance because they worked daylight to dark. So when did it really change and grab a hold of you and say, this is something I want to do. This is something I want to do the rest of my life?
Well, you know, I've always loved fishing. It's been kind of an on and off thing for me in my life because, you know, my dad was disabled. He couldn't take me a whole lot. But a few times that we went, you know, we just fished for channel cats or brim or whatever. During my teenage years, on and off. And I fished for catfish and bass and everything else, but bass wasn't really my thing. I thought it was a little harder than the other fishing because, you know, just simply what you got to go through to catch them. And my uncle used to take me on the old Saluda River, the little Saluda River. I'd go stay with him for 2 weeks in the summer, and he'd take me down to old little Saluda River. And that's where I got fascinated with gar, because we would get in that stream and those gar would be scrubbing all up against the boat. He wouldn't let me fish for him. He wanted to fish for brim and stuff that he could actually eat, you know. So fast forward a few years, and I went fishing with a good friend of mine, Brian Mitchell. Some of you may know him. He's fished some catfish tournaments, you know, around this area for a while. And I got up with him, and he took me out on his boat, and I caught my first big fish with him. I'd say it was somewhere around 25 to 30 pounds.
Oh, that'll ruin you.
And I was ruined. You know, I went out and tried it on my boat. I had a 24-foot pontoon boat at the time. And I went out and tried it, and I couldn't get in fish like that. Because I've always said this, I'm not a real technical fisherman. Either they bite or they don't bite. But I didn't know how to find them. I didn't know where to go look for them. So it kind of discouraged me a little bit. Then I went with him again and caught bigger fish. And then just last year, I went to Tennessee for about 4 days. And I fished up there the whole entire week. And I didn't catch a single fish. I had sent Chris Flores a message probably maybe 2 weeks before I went up there. I just told him I enjoyed his channel, been watching him on YouTube and stuff. And when I got in from fishing on the last day before we were going to leave from Tennessee, he called me on the phone. And as soon as he spoke, I knew exactly who it was. That's an unmistakable voice. And so we talked on the phone about 25 minutes. And he didn't act like he had a thing in this world better to do than to talk to me about fishing. And I told him about my trip up there and how I was discouraged, you know, because I ain't caught any fish up there. And he talked to me a little bit about catfishing. And when I came back, I told my girlfriend, I said, when I get back to Rock Hill, first thing I'm going to do is start fishing for those big catfish again. And went fishing with John at the pier up there at T-Bone and caught that 51. And from that point on, it's been like a drug.
Yeah, it will. Got a question. Well, I actually got a comment. Kentucky Catman said he loves your wallpaper.
Love my wallpaper? That's been up there about 30 years.
Dennis said, I'm headed to the headwaters of a lake Friday. It's river fed with decent current. What's the bait I could use right now for big channels? Maybe a flathead. Dennis, I would recommend catching you some brim or whatever bait fish runs in the waters that you're going to fish. I don't know where you're fishing at. And using cut bait, live brim. Channel cats love live brim as much as flatheads do. If you can get you a mess of little old brim about 4 inches long, float them or put them on a Carolina rig on the bottom. They love them. Cut brim, the brim heads, any kind of cut bait. Channel cats, you can go with smaller baits. I would throw decent sized baits because right now they're feeding up. And I don't know where you're at, but the spawn is getting ready to hit here hard. So cut bait is the best. Channels you can use chicken livers and stuff like that, and stink baits. Stink baits work pretty good for channels, especially if you got current. It just you got to replenish it a lot more often in warm water with current. So wouldn't you think it nasty?
Yeah. I mean, I've caught channel cats on all kinds of stuff. I caught them off marshmallows.
Oh, I know.
Marshmallows and Secret Seven's my favorite for them, but
right. If you're looking for size of channels, brim is hard to beat.
Yeah.
Anything that puts out a good scent, and make sure you got plenty of bait so you can refresh that bait. And like he said, he uses that dead red or dead whatever it's called. A lot of times, even if your bait starts getting old and you don't have much bait, change up, put a fresh piece, and throw that in a bucket with some of that stuff on it and let it soak for a while. Change it up about every 30, 45 minutes, and that should get you through. Smith Mountain Lake in Virginia. I think there might be a couple of Virginia people in here tonight that might can advise you on that. You guys fish all the time. Robert said they got the big deer and we got the big fish. But yeah, so I mean, I know you love your catfishing, you get in some monster cats, but I've heard you talk a lot about the gar, loving to catch them gar.
I love the garfish. That's something that's fascinated me since I was a kid, like I said. But last year, I really got on them by accident. We were fishing for other stuff, and they started coming in chasing our bait, and we just kind of redirected toward the gar. And we had a lot of issues we had to work out with baits and hooks and everything else. They were taking it, but you know, your natural reaction when a fish takes a bait is to set the hook. And you can't do that with a gar. I mean, I know there's probably plenty of people here that say they've caught gar by various methods. And usually if you catch a gar, you catch it by accident. That's my theory.
Yes.
But when you go gar fishing specifically, you better be ready to let that fish run. Because he's not going to swallow that bait immediately. He's going to get it in his mouth. He's going to roll it around. He's going to run around from the other fish, trying to get away from them to get that bait swallowed. And by the time we figured out how to fish for them, they were gone deep. It was, you know, getting toward wintertime. But now they're starting to come out again. Christian Phillips actually told me about some gar down the street from his house the other day. And we went down there and we tried. And those fish wasn't having anything to do with anything we had. I believe they were probably in a spawning mode or something of that nature. Maybe they spawned a little bit earlier than the catfish, don't know, but they wasn't interested in our bait.
Right. We got a few more people in here. Chunky Cats is in here. KB Anglers is in the house. Wampus Cat, Chunky Catfishing's in the house. Antique Catfishing's in the house. Thank you guys for coming in. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people love gar. They take and cut them up in little chunks and call them gar balls and deep fry the little chunks. But I heard it is a monster to try to clean one of them rascals, getting them old hard scales off of them.
I ain't got any interest in trying to eat them, but I like catching them.
Oh, I do too. I've only caught one that's by accident. You've seen the picture of it, about 4.5 foot long. I was turned around and heard something splash the water. It had done come to the surface, and the line went around his mouth, and the hook stuck him up and underneath the jaw. and that little bitty piece of skin, the only little skin underneath his mouth. And that's the only way I caught him. Now, that's like fighting a cotton picking torpedo. Scotty Hill's in the house. What's up, Scotty?
Well, the only 3 I've seen caught this year, every single one of them were foul hooked. There wasn't a one of them that had it in his mouth.
No.
And if you notice when you gar fishing, that's most of the time what happens. I mean, they'll usually do it themselves. They'll hit the bait or whatever, and they'll get hooked in the eye or in the snout or in the tail or in the body. But chances are, if you hook a gar, he's going to be foul hooked. Unless you know.
Mama Scat said you got to use a saw and a garden hose to clean them rascals.
I believe it.
Oh, we got quite a few new people. Here's Last Lane 88's in the house. Appreciate you coming in. Grant's in the house. What's up, Grant? Appreciate you coming in and giving us a little bit of support. Now, I noticed that you really like farm pond fishing also. That's a secret love of mine. I've caught in fact, I've caught my largest largemouth bass and largest brim or bluegill in farm ponds. And actually, there's a farm pond over in Gastonia, which we can't get in no more, but the lake is a real shallow lake. But they carry, I'm talking about plate-sized bluegills in them and jumbo largemouth bass. These bass are chased rough this long. A fun pond to fish. But somebody wanted to know what's your rig your go-to rig for gar fishing.
Well, I can't answer that question yet because I haven't perfected one. I'm working on one now, and it involves a stinger hook, and I don't really know. It's not a stinger hook like you use, James. I've seen yours, and yours would be a good method to try probably. But see, that gar's mouth is so small. I mean, not an alligator gar. A lot of people think they're alligator gars, but they're not.
They're long nose.
They're just spotted or long nose gar.
Right.
So they got real small mouths. I mean, that snout's long, but that mouth is little.
Real narrow.
You got to use a small treble hook. But what I've been trying the last couple of times I went, and like I say, I hadn't been able to get on them yet, was going about, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches below the first hook with a treble hook.
Right.
With a J hook on the top or a treble hook. I've tried both. And put your bait on the top to try to get them to strike it. And then if they miss it, you're gonna get a loop around or something. I'm trying that right now, and I'm also working on a lure. I'm trying to perfect a lure, but I'm looking into the legalities of that too. I don't want to get in trouble.
Right.
But I'm gonna try a lure with a bunch of treble hooks on it.
Catfish Weekly, Lyle's in the house with us tonight. Appreciate you coming in, Lyle. Now, when you go out catfishing, I know you love bank fishing and you love boat fishing too. Let's talk a little bit about your bank fishing technique. I seen you the other day. Y'all was fishing with a good friend of yours down there. He caught a big buffalo. I love seeing that old big buffalo being caught.
It was a big one.
Are you throwing Carolina rigs or Santee rigs, or what is your technique that you use while you're fishing off the bank?
Mostly Carolina rigs
in the house.
For catfish, I use a slip. What do you call it?
Little slip float.
No, for the weight.
Bobber slide.
Bobber slide.
Yeah.
Anyway, I use one of those for my weight. They're just the cheap things that you get at Walmart. I think it's Team Catfish or something like that. You can buy a whole pack of hooks and the sinker slides.
Sinker slides and all.
Sinker slide, yeah. And you can buy a whole pack of those. And about every time I walk in Walmart, I'll pick up a pack of them because I use a lot of the sinker slides. And I'll just stockpile the hooks and stuff. I mean, you're talking about $8 for a pack.
Right.
So I use that, and I use about a 3-inch disc sinker most of the time. Or rounds, whatever I can find. And I'll do a Carolina rig, and most of the time I use a Santee style rig leader. I use braid I know that's going to cause some people to flip over backwards, but I use braid, 50-pound spider wire. And my buddy Brian will tell you it's almost impossible to break.
Yes.
It's almost impossible to break.
But easy to cut your finger off with.
Yeah, if you're careful, you'll just about. And I'm lucky when I caught that 51-pounder, because when he got wrapped around that dock out there, I actually took the line and wrapped it around my finger trying to pull it out. If that sucker would have took off, I'd have lost my index finger. And I didn't even think about it.
I got a scar all the way to the bone right there from 12-pound spider wire. When it first come out, I put it on a bass rod, about a 4-pound. And I was mainly a worm fisherman. I was fishing with a worm and with Texas style. And that rascal thumped that daggum worm, and I'm a line filler, and I set the hook, and it was straight to the bone, buddy, just like it.
You gotta be careful with that stuff. But then I use a leader, 60-pound test on my
mono.
Leader. Yeah, mono. I am currently contemplating changing to the Andy Monster line. I've been watching Dieter and Catfish Dave, and a lot of those guys use that Andy Monster. And I think I want to convert to some on a couple of my rods just to try it. It's just going to be one of the things that when I need some line, I'm going to try it on 2 rods. I just don't like the memory of mono.
Well, let me tell you, you will love that Andy line. That Andy line does not have the memory that you're used to having with other lines. That Andy, I love it. I love the feel of it. It don't have much memory. It don't have a whole lot of stretch to it either. And that's some tough line. Catfish said he's watching us on the computer and watching the St. Louis Cardinals on TV.
Well, that's about the only reason I use braid, is because I don't like the memory of mono. I got braid on my ultralights. I got 20-pound braid on my ultralights, and I fish for bass with them. So,
right. Let's see. You said, "Don't do it, Nasty. Stick with the braid."
Well, like I say, I don't know if I'm gonna totally get away from braid or not. Here's my issue with braid. Every single time I come back from fishing, I have to pull off about 10 yards and throw it away. Now, y'all might have the same problem with mono. I don't know, but that braid is just, for 10 or sometimes 20 yards, it's absolutely destroyed. Now, it's still strong, but I don't feel like taking a chance on it with a big fish.
Right. There's a couple of braids out there that actually has a coating on them. You need to check around to that. I've heard it is a lot more resistant to getting nicks and stuff like what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Anytime you're out fishing, when you get home, it's best to check 10, 15 yards up your line anyway. I always retie my leaders. A good fish will put a good jerk on knots and stuff. So best, big game line is cheap.
Yeah.
Tie your leaders with that. It's cheap. It's easy to go ahead and get it done. Check your hooks and your swivels while you at it.
Right.
Somebody said something. I might lose a lot of fish, but I like fishing big cats with light tackle. Dennis, that's fun. We've all been surprised out crappie fishing and get our daggum lines and our rods stretched by big old catfish grabbing our little small jigs. I agree. I've got cheaper rods than my catfish rods simply because, I could buy them $100 rods, but I got them old catfish system rods. They're $19 to $25. 44-pounder with it. I've actually been hung up on the bottom and it pulled that rod around double and it hadn't broken yet. Yet it handled the big fish. I hadn't got no 60s on it yet, but yet 5, 10-pound channels, blues, flatheads, or whatever, I still get to feel the fight. I like one that's got a limber end. So I agree. I love light tackle fishing.
Well, that 50-pounder I caught him off light tackle.
Oh.
And it was off of a cheap. It's actually the most expensive rod I got, to be honest with you. It's a $35 ugly stick from Walmart. It's a medium light and had 20.
Oh, a medium light.
Yeah, had 20-pound braid on it, and when he took off, he dang near spooled me. I mean, you watch the video, that's no exaggeration of the truth. When that drag wasn't set real loose, but he spooled me one time, and I didn't think he was going to stop. I even actually reached up there to grab the line to try to stop him. And John was like, "Don't touch that line! Don't touch it."
Nah, we always like it. You can palm that reel, just palm that reel like you had to slow it down.
Yeah.
Oh, peeling drags in the house.
Oh, Jason Hall.
Braid's pretty. He said he likes Pro Cat braid.
I haven't tried that yet.
Just a tip said, you have any interest in organizing a catfish bait tournament?
Me? No.
That's what he's asking.
I have no interest in organizing anything. I'll leave that to the experts. Like I say, I'm not a real technical person. If I tried to organize anything, it would probably be a flop. And I'm only a bank fisherman by default. If I had a boat, you'd never see me fish from the bank. I don't like lakes. Okay. And you talked about the ponds earlier. I'm a big fan of ponds and watershed lakes and stuff like that. If I'm gonna go out fishing, that would be my first choice of somewhere to go just to catch fish. But if I had a boat that was actually registered and had a motor and everything for it, I would never come off the river. I would stay on the river. That's where it's at. Big fish down there. Aggressive fish. You can catch catfish. You can catch gar, bass, anything you want. Big brim. I would stay on that river. I would never come off.
When you say in river, you're talking about like the Catawba River?
I'm talking about in the rocks. I'm talking about in the rocks. You know, you see some of these guys go out there all the time. I don't know if you've ever seen his channel or not, but Mr. Fail Fishing, he stays out there on a kayak. And that boy catches some monsters out there. He catches big catfish, big flatheads, big blues. I mean, you know, not 60, 70 pounders, but some decent fish. And he catches nice bass, catches a lot of gar out there, and he does it all from a kayak.
Right. Now you can wade fish in rivers. There's a guy on there. I forget where he's at. I'm gonna say he's in Oklahoma, but he wade fishes these big rocky rivers, and he is fishing for flathead catfish, and he fishes behind any shoals and stuff like that. But you'll never guess what he's throwing for bait.
What?
Giant rubber shad.
Wow.
No cut bait, no live bait, this giant rubber shad. But all these people around him are not catching anything. No, it's in Kansas. He's in Kansas. Not hardly catching anything. And this guy's putting fish left and right. It shows one of them, he has to run that thing down the river trying to keep up with it. Monster fish. There was a little small dam. It wasn't high. You can tell the water probably wasn't dropping 3 or 4 foot. But going up there behind them big old rocks, and that was a monster. I guarantee you ever be at 45-pound big old flathead in that fast running current.
Right.
Precision cast that was getting him the fish.
Well, me and Christian Phillips and Christopher Jordan went up. Those two are just tip fishing. I don't know if you know that or not, but that's
yeah.
But those two guys, they took me out a few weeks ago, and I hadn't put the video out yet because Christian put his out, and I wanted to wait a little while. It's essentially the same content, but you know,
right.
We went up in the river chain from Fishing Creek, and we got on some pretty decent fish up in that river. And it to me, that's the best fishing going in the river where the rocks are. I like it. I really like it a lot. Yeah,
I watched years and years ago, back before YouTube, and I watched it on I don't remember what it was. I was fly fishing up in Delaware and the big Rocky River up there for carp. And these carp were down there turning over rocks, grabbing crawdad. Fly fishing using a small crawdad on the end of that fly rod, catching these big old carp on a fly rod.
Wow.
To me, that would be just the ultimate right there. That would, in a fast running river, big old carp, ain't nothing but a mussel. Yeah.
Well, that may be my new love here shortly.
I love it. Robert Waxon said if he has an 18-foot John boat, but if he had a motor, he'd probably be divorced. Just Tim said he'd love to try fishing on a kayak, but he might be too clumsy for it.
Ain't getting on
Dennis wants to know how many people out here tonight has fished Bugs Island. His biggest cat to date is a 45-pounder. That's a good fish. Dirty oars in the house. He said he's too lazy to get in a kayak.
I ain't getting in a kayak.
Big Nasty need to try the Saluda River. Junior, he does fish. He has fished the Saluda, and he does fish it.
I've been to the Saluda River as soon as last week. Well, week before last, I went to Saluda River. I actually fished for 22 hours straight. And when I say 22 hours straight, I had a look. I'm going to say it was 23. I had an hour break between getting out of the car with one person and getting on the boat with just tip fishing. But I was out there for 22 hours straight. And the first portion of it was the Saluda River.
I hear you. Ask Big Nasty, how can I grow up to be like him, PD fishing?
Well, you don't want to be like me. You'll never win nothing. You'll never win anything.
I believe I'll call you out on that BS right there, Big Nasty. I believe you won the YouTube tournament, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I did. But I'm gonna tell you something. That blowed my mind. That was the first thing I'd ever won in my life. I ain't never won a nickel in my life. And you know, I was sick that day. I was bad sick. Didn't even be there. And it was my girlfriend's birthday, and she pushed me to go. And when I woke up that morning, I said I wasn't going. And but you know, I just have to contribute that to the person I was on the boat with. I mean, Dieter put us right on the fish. You know, without him, if I'd have fished from that bank, I wouldn't have won that tournament.
Don't know that. Don't know that. That fish had your name on it, buddy.
You're right, but Dieter put us on the fish, and
because think about it, your buddy John 2 weeks before that put that 54 on the bank.
He caught a 30-something pound flathead the other night out there. He's been catching some good flatheads out there. I hadn't posted the pictures yet, but he's been.
Need to get John an old call.
He's been catching some pretty good fish out there recently.
Yep, one fish is in the house with us tonight. What time is it, Jeff?
8:31.
Oh, I guess it's about that time, ain't it?
PD, you're not gonna win tonight.
I can't believe LNS ain't in here tonight, guys. LNS made a little video today and put on his YouTube channel about what he had won from Christian. Christian, I appreciate you sending that. He loved it. I hope you get to see the video. I got to send him your YouTube channel so he wants to put it in the description down there of who he won it from. All right, guys, we're going to do the random check and see who we can come up with is going to be a winner tonight. And a few people ain't in here tonight I thought would have showed up. Lyle Stokes. Lyle Stokes from Catfish Weekly.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to you, buddy. Are you still in here, Lyle? I know he's got his nose in that day. Kenny P's in the house. What's up, Kenny? I hope you're feeling okay today, buddy. Stokes, you have to be in the chat to win.
Uh-oh, PD might win now.
Uh-oh. Calling Lyle, going once. Calling Lyle Stokes, Catfish Weekly, going twice. Calling Lyle, 3 strikes. Sorry, Lyle, you're out of here. All right, guys, let's do another random. You have to be in the chat to win. He was in here a little bit ago. Somebody must have hit a ground slam on that ball game, and he's got it team, so he might have done kicked his TV over. That his wife will whoop him. Cindy will whoop him real good. He kicked that TV over, I believe. All right, guys. Let's see who we're going to come up with.
PD, you have a chance.
Peel and drag.
Peel and drag. Congratulations.
Peel and drag. Get them hogs.
Get the hog.
Drag. It's all about the hogs for peel and drag, ain't it?
That's right.
Get him in here one Wednesday night, too. Peel and drag. Speak up.
We need to get them down here to fishing.
Yeah, he's wanting to make another trip down here, buddy. Mr. Peel.
I got a room.
Hello.
I got a room right there.
Yep.
I got a room right there. Won't cost you a dime.
Yep. Hey, we could all pile up down at one of them campgrounds too, man. That would be neat. All of us pile up at the campground.
That's right.
I know he was in here, just in here a minute ago. Peeling. Speak up and say hello, Peel and Drag. Mr. Peel and Drag. Going once. Peel and Drag. Going twice. Come on, Peeling. Peel and Drag. 3 strikes, you're out. Sorry about that. I can't believe we've had 2 strikeouts tonight, guys. You got to be in chat to win it. There he is. He's here. All right, Peeling. I was about to give it away, boy. Peel and Drag, you want to spin on the old DIY prize wheel. I got in Kentucky. All right. You see, the names on here is me, Patriot. Christian's on here, which is Just a Tip Fishing. Jim Clark, which is Kentucky Catman. John Finally. John ain't in here tonight. I hadn't seen him in there. Yeah, we got you. Oh, he's cooking. And PD's in here, and Justin Fishing Fetish. Justin ain't in here tonight either. Catfish Bill, what's up? Good to see you in the house tonight, buddy. Good to see you in the house. Just in time. Peel and Drag won a chance on the old prize wheel, and we're going to give her a spin and see where she stops. Oh, Peel and Drag. You won yourself some bobbers from Patriot Catfishers of America, buddy. How about sending me your address, your mailing address and zip code, and of course your name, because I can't remember how to spell it, and we'll get you a little prize on the way. Thank you for playing the prize wheel, the DIY prize wheel, guys. Woo-hoo, he said. What's up, Dwayne Miller? All right, guys, I'm going to ask you right quick. Anybody else in here want to join us on the prize wheel? I've had it going for about 2 months now. And today I'm going to be able to add a few more names to it that people that do DIYs. And it don't really have to pertain to fishing. I would prefer that it did. We got guys that make drifting sinkers. We got guys that make sinkers. I make floats, and I think we got a couple other guys that make some floats. PD said he's got a couple different things that he's wanting to do. But if you have something, and Kentucky does custom knives, I think he's given one away so far.
I got one.
So what? You got one, didn't you? I think that's the only one that's been given away. So
nice
see, you win. You have one.
Twice.
See. All right, Kentucky. I'm going to take Kentucky Catman off the prize wheel. That leaves us an opening. Does anybody, I know I sound like I'm shouting, but I've been on a lawnmower all day. Does anybody want to join the DIY prize wheel? The new guys that's in here tonight, what we do, each one of us makes a little thing for fishing or whatever. It's the DIY. Put you on the prize wheel, and I do a random check, random test on my phone of everybody in chat, and whoever's name pops up, we spin the prize wheel. And whoever's name it lands on that makes the DIY projects, they mail them out to the person that won. With that being said, we now have a opening. Okay. You got to make pop a knife. Okay. So if anybody in here does any kind of DIYs, whether you pour your own sinkers, make drifting sinkers, but also, guys, if Antique, I don't know why your video's freezing. Nobody else has said anything. It might be your internet. I've had people ask me about sending like the demon dragons or the demon dragon lookalikes or something like that. And I don't want you to send just that individual lure or what float. What I want you to do, if that's what you choose to do, then I want you to set it up how you would fish with it when you go fishing. Otherwise, I want a swivel, the demon dragon, the leader, the hook, however you fish with whatever you choose to do with this is how I want it sent. So we're not advertising for demon dragons. We're not advertising for this. We're not advertising for that. This channel is sponsored by y'all, the fishermen. And that's the way I want to keep it. So, you know, just like if you have rig wraps and you want to do a rig wrap, put all your leaders, your hooks, or whatever, how you fish that, we can count that as a prize because you put that together how you use it. Just like Richard, when he gave away the tackle box, Big Nasty, he put everything in that tackle box that he uses. You know, if anybody else wants to jump on here, wants to jump on the prize wheel, you don't have to speak up right now. You can send it to me in Messenger later if you want. And I would like to know basically what you're trying to gift. So I appreciate that. Congratulations there, Peeling Drag. And I will be getting your floats out to you as well as sending Kentucky Catman's floats to him that he won a month and a half ago that's sitting on my dining room table because my lazy tail ain't got them out to him. Apologies, Jim. Apologies. Was fishing today, got skunk, Kentucky man. It said, hey, what's the next trip you going to do, Mr. Nasty?
Don't know. I don't have a clue. Most of my trips aren't really planned. I'd like to go back up that river again. And don't know when it's going to happen. Probably the next big fishing trip for me is going to be not this Saturday, but next Saturday. I would like to try some more carp fishing. I got with Rayford out there the other day when I was out at his place, and I'd actually made some carp bait to take out there just in case we didn't have any catfish bait. But Christian was lucky enough to catch us a few brim up, so we were able to do both. And he caught that 35-pound flathead. But I got some carp bait back there I would like to try. It's probably going to be early next week. And
all right. Appreciate you coming in, Dennis.
That may be my next one, carp fishing.
Right. And I'll talk with Wampus Cat, and I think what I'm going to do is pick out a good spot. I'm going to talk to Jeff Manning because Manning's got a lot of experience on catching some of the big buffaloes out of Wiley. And figure out a good spot that we could start baiting up because you can bait for carp. I've seen a couple of them carp fishermen, they'll start and liable to bait for a week every other day before they decide to go fishing to draw numbers in.
Yeah.
And I would love to go set up and do some carp fishing with you.
I'd love it. I think that might be my new love. Like I said, if I can catch a big one like Rayford caught the other day, that might ruin me for a while.
Well, let me tell you, Mr. Manning's told me some stories that he can't tell you how many 40s he's put in the boat or on the bank out of Wiley, and probably 3 or 4 in the 70s out of Wiley.
Wow.
But
that's big.
He said he loves to eat them.
I ain't eating one. Not out of Wiley.
He said that is the best eating. He said them daggum big meat right between the ribs. He said, son, that is the best eating you'll ever eat.
Really?
Yeah. I'm willing to try. That's a lot of meat on a big old fish like that.
I ain't much of a fish eater. I mean, I'll eat it. I'm not opposed to it, but I like red meat, steak.
Let's see. PD, your stuff is shipped from my house to my truck. I'm gonna keep it at the post office tomorrow. Oh, that's amongst themselves. Big Nasty to show off his knife. You got your knife handy, Big Nasty, to show him?
Yeah, hold on just a second.
All right. Wallace Cat and PD's giving each other a hard time. Yes, the rib is good, Maurice said. PD got some love for the brother. Let's see, Robert. Question. I just started keeping live bait like bluegills and creek chubs. Does anyone feed them, or what do they feed them? Team Keeping It Real. Justin, maybe you can help him out with that question. Robert's got a question about keeping live bait. Dieter Melhorn's in the house, just landed.
What's up, Dieter?
You made it back safely, buddy.
Who's that knife?
Riding that big old jet airplane. Speak, Jeff.
Yes.
Yeah, talk while you got that held it up there, because it wasn't bringing you up on the big screen.
Okay, here's that knife Jim made out of a little antler.
Oh, that's neat.
I've got to use it one time on video, but it didn't show up. And I apologized to Jim. I said, I don't know, I just didn't have the camera view right on or something, but I told him I'd use it on one of my videos, and I hadn't yet, except for that one.
Mr. Melhorn's in the house. He said he just landed and got off the plane. Catfishers wants to know where your name come from, Big Nasty.
From McAllister's Deli. I had to tell that story again today. Everybody always asks me, but when I worked in the narcotics, well, I had a filthy mouth too. I mean, that had a lot to do with it too, probably. But we always went to McAllister's Deli on Wednesday, and I hated to go there. I was like, man, ain't no man food in that place. Ain't nothing but chick food in that place. And he wanted to go every Wednesday, so we would go in there, and I would complain every time we went in there because it's just soup and sandwiches. I mean, that stuff don't interest me. So we went in there one day, and the particular day I was in there, I was just looking at the menu, staring, and they was like, Jeff, look, the same stuff's been here for 2 years. Just get what you normally get. And I was looking at the menu, and the little girl back behind the counter, I said, look, what's the manliest thing y'all got in here? I know y'all got something manly in here. This can't all be chick food, can it? And she said, well, we got the Big Nasty. And from then on out, them boys just call me that. So
the Big Nasty. There you go. Let's see. There's Justin. He's in the house. Appreciate you coming in, buddy. Appreciate you coming in. We'll just ask you where you was at. We figured you'd show up in a little bit. Somebody, oh, yeah, we got a couple guys have Richard and Wampus Cat on. Dieter Melhorn will be here on, let me look at the calendar. Dieter Melhorn will be in the show. If I can find my calendar, there it is. Dieter will be on the show next Wednesday night, guys, at 8 o'clock. Mr. Melhorn, will be taking questions, and the show will mainly be talking. Excuse me, my mouth done got dry. On the technical part of YouTube and social media, how to build your channel, things to look for. Joe Buck's in the house. Appreciate you coming in, Joe. So, guys, get your questions ready for Mr. Melhorn on the 22nd. And hopefully the Wednesday after that, we're going to get Mr. Richard Warskow and Wampuscat on here. And they'll be in the cabin with Patriot James that night. Both of them will show up here at the cabin. We'll have a live show with them in the cabin with me. You got a bird in there, Jeff?
Yeah, and I need to shut the door. He's been got cranked up.
That's all right.
I got an African gray parrot, and he likes noise. Whenever he hears noise, cranked up.
We got Kentucky. Watch this one. We'll see if he stays straight, he can stay. If he don't, Kentucky will get rid of him. Pond River boys, hello. Finally got to catch the show. Well, congratulations, and glad you made it in here. Try to get in here before 8:30 so you can get on our prize wheel, our DIY prize wheel. Appreciate you coming in and joining us and giving you support, buddy. We end tonight's show with Big Nasty. We've asked a lot of questions, answered a lot of questions. Big Nasty, you got any questions for me while we're on here?
No, sir. I don't believe it do.
When you was with Rayford the other day carp fishing, do you happen to know what rig he was using and hook size?
He used a small hook. Well, they wasn't quite as small as what I was using, but the rigs I've been trying over the last little bit is just snailed hooks. I mean, they're just snailed hooks, and you get the three-way swivel,
right?
And you put one off one part of the swivel and one off the other, and the other one to the leader, and they work pretty good. Just use a Carolina rig with a small.
So was he using a double hook rig?
Yeah, he was using a double hook rig as well, and just packing the bait around his weight and throwing it and putting puffs on it. Now he uses puffs. I like corn.
I use corn puffs. The corn puffs on what they'll do. We'd use corn on one hook and the corn puffs on the other one because the corn would lay down and the corn puff would stand up.
Right.
Because that carp, when they coming down and feeding, a lot of times they might miss that corn and they'll grab that puff.
Right.
And they'll get it down their gut. Well, not in their gullet, but they'll get it in the corner of the mouth quicker that way.
Right.
I'm not. We always in the summertime we use a little bit of cinnamon oil. We'll take a little bottle, put some corn puffs in it, put cinnamon oil in it, shake it around, and let it soak in that cinnamon oil, which is hot. And it seems like when they grab that daggum corn puff with that cinnamon oil in there, buddy, it puts fire underneath their tail. And seem like we get a lot better hookups.
Yeah. But that boy I went with a couple of weeks ago, he had about the same rig, just a small hook. I don't know what size it was, but I keep a lot of snailed hooks in my bag, and that's what I was using. And I just loop them around and put them on there. But he wasn't catching as many as I was catching. Well, he didn't catch none, but I was catching them off corn. He had puffs, and he wasn't getting any bites, and I was getting murdered with the corn.
Right.
But out there at Rayford's, it seemed like they liked the puffs better on the lake.
Right. So. Combat Carl's in the house. Appreciate you coming in. This is his first time in the show. He sent me a message, said he's wanting to join us in the chat, and I appreciate you coming in. Oh, well, I guess that didn't take long, did it, KB? John the sheep finally showed his daggone true colors, and he got booted. Appreciate that, Kentucky. Let's get him out of here. We'll take care. We don't want no trash in here. That's no place for it. I got a little pond down here, Jeff. I want to invite you to go with me. It's down here right through Kings Mountain Battleground. It used to be a pay lake 20 years ago. But now it's just a little old lady owns it. You come down there, she'll come by on a golf cart. You pay her $5 and fish. Fish for whatever you want to fish. And we catch good carp down there. They love like strawberry millet, great millet. And a lot of times that butterscotch will tear them up. So, it's different flavors for different times of the year, I guess.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I love carp fishing. I'd like to be able to get into some small carp for cut baits. I really don't want to cut up no big monster carp for cut bait, but I would like to be able to try some small because I've heard that carp make killer bait.
I've heard that as well.
Some big cats. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to read some of the comments. Make sure we ain't missed no questions there, Jeff. But now, Richard did tell me of a cove up from South Point that they call Gar Cove. And you're going to have to meet me down there at South Point Boat Landing, buddy, and we're going to take the boat and go up in there and see what he's talking about.
Yeah, I think you took me out there when I went with you that time. I think you took me up in that cove and said that's what they call Gar Cove.
Right.
But it was wintertime still.
Right.
But I love to do that. I don't know how to catch them in the lake, man. I've very rarely seen them in the lake like I have in the river. But
right.
John, I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, and he said when these fish go on to bed, when these catfish stop biting, he said, "Man, I don't know what I'm gonna do." I said, "Well, let's go gar fishing." He's like, "Well, we'll go."
Yeah, gar and carp. I mean, hey, I've seen some monster carp down around there at the Busted Boy Bridge, especially when the old restaurant used to let you throw food out there to them. Mm-hmm. Son, them big old carp would be everywhere down there.
Dieter said he wanted to catch one to mount.
Who?
Dieter said he wanted to catch one to mount.
And, yeah.
He wants a big one to put on the wall. And there's some big ones out there.
Oh, yes. Let's see. Somebody's talking about fill up the cement pond with channel cats. Silver carp. The commercial fisherman said he uses red meat and said the cat loves it. I don't really care for the commercial fishing because they stock a lot of the pay lakes, but a lot of them do put fish in our daggum bellies too to the restaurants. Don T's in the house. Appreciate it. Second time in here. First time chatting. Well, Don, I appreciate you coming in the house. They do make great baits. Somebody said, what is that? Gar, add cotton to your bait. Get it in his teeth. Yeah, Carl, that's I'll let Big Nasty talk to you about the shredded rope or cotton pieces on bait.
I don't do that. I don't like that at all. Like I said before, I'm not an animal rights activist, but I don't believe it gives that fish a fighting chance. You're gonna have to break about dang near all of his teeth out to get it out. I mean, and I'm with a gar, I'm just about like you are with catfish. I want to turn it loose to fight another day.
Yeah.
And if you use a rope, I'm not saying I'm not above it. It depends on how big the gar was and what I was going to do with it. If I was going to mount him, maybe, I would use a rope. I actually made one the other day just to see if I could, but I'm just not a real big fan of the ropes when it comes to gar. I mean, you're going to catch them. If they bite it, they're done.
Right. Yeah. All right, Kentucky. I misunderstood what he was saying. Oh, okay. The silver carp commercial fish. Oh, okay. Yeah. Get them rascals. Yeah, Kenny, I hope you do, buddy. Keep it kicking. You in all of our prayers, buddy. Kenny P, I think he started some of his treatments yesterday, and we got you back, buddy. All right, guys, take and get this guy out of here. Let's see if I can't do him. Sorry about that. We're going to remove him. We got to get that rascal out of here because he's gonna come in here and start showing his tail, and I'm gonna have to just try not to get red faced on here. Fishing with Big D. What's going on? Come in the house. Yeah, I agree there, Jeff. I agree that if it's something that we love to do, we got to be the most sporting as we can with the fish. Yeah, we'll stick a hook in them. That hook is a small feat or injury compared to jerking half his teeth or end up breaking his jaw trying to get the rope loose so you can get your hook back. You know, and if you don't get it back, then his mouth's tangled up. He's not going to be able to feed.
Right.
There's just a lot of stuff that we can do as fishermen to take care of it to guarantee our grandkids can enjoy what we do.
Right.
Got to be stewards of the land and of the water. And everybody that's in here, go ahead.
I know sometimes you just can't do anything about an injury to a fish. You know, I mean, you just he swallows the hook or whatever. I mean, you just got to deal with it. But when you go rope fishing for gar, I mean, you're gonna tear his mouth up so bad. It's already bad enough that you got to get a hook out of his mouth usually, but tear his mouth up so bad. And there was a boy down at the landing I was fishing at one day, and he was talking about how he catches them and he breaks their bill off and throws them up on the bank. And I was like, why? I mean, you know, trash.
Well, that just kind of, well, excuse my language, guys, that would piss me off.
Yeah. And
Don, we don't allow no kind of profanity or any kind of junk trash talking or anything on this or harassment on this channel. That will get you blocked, thrown off of here real quick. So that's why when somebody comes in here and starts changing up and doing stuff like he was doing, Don, we get rid of them. You got some bait farms on the West Coast now. I hear you. Fish Kentucky down, Berkeley down. Yeah, some of them Volkswagen sized catfish down around them dams, ain't they?
Yeah.
Waiting to hook up on that Volkswagen catfish myself.
I believe they're there. I mean, I don't believe they're as big as Volkswagens, but I believe there's some big fish there.
Oh, yeah. I believe there's fish in all of our lakes that, you know, especially our older lakes that's had the blues and the flatheads and stuff like that in there. There's some monsters in there. So that might even surprise us all.
Right.
But Jeff, I thank you for coming in tonight, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Do this again. And I'm going to see how many, I'm going to try to see how many I can actually do on Google Hangouts. And one night I want to get quite a few of us on here. We got Chunky Cass, he loves bank fishing. We got a couple other guys that love bank fishing. And maybe one night we can schedule it on here and maybe you can get John over there with you, Jeff.
He'll go. All you got to do is tell him.
But would he come and sit down with you one night and join us in a show?
Oh, yeah, sure he would. He'd love to.
All right. Well, talk to him and see if you can get him over there one night and set. We'll do this again and bring in a couple more bank fishermen, and we'll just have a good old show and maybe even extend the time to discuss different techniques for bank fishing, what they look for when they go bank fishing.
I wanted to tell you, he's kind of tickled that you subscribe to his YouTube channel. He said, well, I don't have a YouTube channel, but he subscribed to it.
Yeah. Well, when it come up and I seen it, I said, nah, I got to give this man a daggum shout and subscribe to.
He liked that.
Come up there one of these days.
Come on up there and see us.
Yeah. Well, guys and gals, I do appreciate you coming in tonight. I appreciate you, Jeff, for joining me in here. I've enjoyed it. Make sure y'all tune in next week at 8 o'clock. Mr. Dieter Melhorn will be in here. Try to answer your questions about YouTube and about social media, how you can grow your channel. And guys, let's make sure that we get out here. We support each other. We got a year to go before the Patriot Catfishers of America YouTube tournament. We got to get each other up to at least 1,000 subscribers so we all can go live. That's our goal. That's what I'm pushing each and every one of you to do. Is help each other get to that 1,000 mark so we can make this the best YouTube tournament ever. The first year was great. The next year is going to be even better, guys. With that being said, God bless America. God bless you, Jeff. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you, buddy.
Each and every one of you. With that being said, we'll see you on the water next Wednesday night. Say bye.
Bye.